So, you're him, the believer. Yes, Gabriel, that is correct. This conversation has been a long time coming, and you no doubt have a great many questions. You're damn right I do, I said abruptly. So, how about you take the time to explain it? What the hell is going on? Why are you setting all of these things up? What's your goal? And why in the hell are you so interested in me? I said, peering at him through that shining blue portal in the middle of the room. As I stared through the gateway at him, there was this strange sensation. I'm not really sure how to place it, but it almost felt like this guy was familiar, like I'd seen him somewhere, come across him and just couldn't recollect it. I got the sense that I knew him, which was completely absurd because I've never seen anyone in that type of situation, sitting around hooked up to all that equipment. It didn't even look like he could really move with all of it there. He was just stuck there in that chair. What kind of a fate is that? Why is he hanging on so tight? There were dozens and dozens of cords all attached to his body in different places, with different colored liquids flowing in and out in every direction. If he had nanotechnology at his disposal, why didn't he just use it on himself? Give himself the kind of upgrades and abilities that I have. Why hand it off to me instead? Everything that I came to know about him only raised more questions about why, and none of them made any sense. Well, Gabriel, perhaps you might be ready for this, and perhaps not. But I will answer your question. In fact, I'll answer all of them with a single response. All I'm going to do is tell you my name, and whether you believe it or not won't really matter. Once you hear it, you'll understand. The pieces will start to fall into place. Things will start to make sense in an absolutely absurd and convoluted sort of way, but all the same. Fine then, I replied. So, what's your name? My name is Gabriel Moon, he said, glaring at me through the portal. As he said it, I stared back at him. For a moment, I probably had a shocked expression on my face before I started to get angry. Don't screw with me, old man. I thought you were going to give me some real answers. I just did, Gabriel. Use your head. Think about it. It all reasons out, doesn't it? The reason that I'm so interested in you, your life, your fate, is because you are me, and I am you. That's not possible, I said, staring at him, beginning to clench my fists. For a moment, the idea that might be my fate, that I might end up looking like that, struck into me, and I felt a sense of fear. Is that what my destiny is? Sitting in some chair, being kept alive, hooked to every sort of machine possible? Is that how I end up? That can't be it. Don't misinterpret things, Gabriel. While it is true that I am you, I am simply a different version of you. To understand the nature of things and how we have come to this point, I will explain how it is that I am you and you are me, and yet we are profoundly different in many ways. You see, Gabriel, I am both your future and I am also the past. I am things that have long since transpired, and yet will never transpire at all. Or perhaps could have transpired but didn't. It's a very complicated situation we find ourselves in. But all the same, I am Gabriel Moon. I am from a previous iteration of the timeline of this universe. What? A previous iteration? Yes, Gabriel, he replied, staring through the portal, before coughing a bit, leaning over and looking like he was having trouble breathing. He did have a mask over his face for oxygen, so it kind of made sense. As he caught his breath and leaned back into his chair, he continued his conversation. I lived as Gabriel Moon in my own iteration of time. In fact, I am not even the first Gabriel Moon. I am the 5th iteration, and you are the 6th. The 6th? You telling me that there have been 6 different versions of me throughout this universe? This timeline? Yes, Gabriel. You see, we find ourselves caught in a bit of a loop, you might say. You see, eventually, something is going to happen. I cannot give you details. The knowledge would only hinder your progress forward. Too much foreknowledge can be exceptionally dangerous, can rewrite fate in unplanned, unforeseen, and unfortunate ways. But what I can tell you is that eventually, you will do as I did. You will tear open the fabric of time and hurl yourself back through its pages, back into the past, in order to attempt to rewrite what was written, to change the horrendous fate of yourself, those you love, and the world around you. I, like the 4 iterations before me, did this, going back in time in an attempt to rewrite history, to change what would be. At that point, out of nowhere, alarms began to go off, but not where we were. No, wherever he was, the systems began to sound alerts. Red lights flashed on. Screens with hazard and warning symbols fluttered to life around him. Perimeter breach, security breach, danger, intruder alert, first level defenses have been neutralized. The alerts screamed in the room, and as they did, and I expected the conversation to grind to a halt, he simply raised his hand, fluttering it to the side, as all of the alert screens simply faded away. Ugh, what a nuisance. What in the hell was that? I shouted. What's going on? Do not concern yourself with it, he replied. These are simply the troubles of an old and dying man, whose fate has already been written. But this fate is not one meant for you, but for me. I know that may be confusing in the fact that we are, in fact, the same person, but I assure you our fates are still separate. This is the concern of an old man and nothing more. We have more important things to talk about. Listen closely, Gabriel. The fate of more than you lies on what you are about to hear. You are about to undergo a journey, one that will change your life, and not only your life, through it, the entire world. The fate of countless lives, more than you could ever imagine, all rest on your abilities. The abilities that I have granted to you are, in essence, the accumulation of my life's work. everything that I have sought to accomplish, and was unable to do so myself, I have now passed on to you. I was unable to achieve the goals that I set. I had far too many limitations and could not surmount them. As such, I dedicated the remainder of my life to setting in motion the restoration of the cycle. And just as my predecessors did before me, I set to work on passing down what I knew and the power that I had gained to my future predecessor, myself.